The Heaven and Earth Grocery Store, a novel by James McBride, print length, 400 pages, publication date, August 8th, 2023. The runaway New York Times bestseller. A New York Times notable book, a New York Times reader's pick. 100 best books of the 21st century. Winner of the 2024 Library of Congress Prize for American Fiction. From one of Time magazine's 100 most influential people of 2024. Named a Best Book of the Year by NPR/Fresh Air, Washington Post, The New Yorker, and Time magazine. One of Barack Obama's favorite books of 2023. In 1972, when workers in Pottstown, Pennsylvania, were digging the foundations for a new development, the last thing they expected to find was a skeleton at the bottom of a well. Who the skeleton was and how it got there were two of the long-held secrets kept by the residents of Chicken Hill, the dilapidated neighborhood where immigrant Jews and African Americans live side by side and shared ambitions and sorrows. Chicken Hill was where Moshe and Chona Ludlow lived when Moshe integrated his theater and where Chona ran the Heaven and Earth grocery store. When the state came looking for a deaf boy to institutionalize him, it was Chona and Nate Timblin, the black janitor at Moshe's theater and the unofficial leader of the black community on Chicken Hill, who worked together to keep the boy safe. As these characters' stories overlap and deepen, it becomes clear how much the people who live on the margins of white, Christian America struggle and what they must do to survive. When the truth is finally revealed about what happened on Chicken Hill and the part the town's white establishment played in it, McBride shows us that even in dark times, it is love and community, heaven and earth, that sustain us. Bringing his masterly storytelling skills and his deep faith in humanity to the Heaven and Earth grocery store, James McBride has written a novel as compassionate as Deacon King Kong and as inventive as the good Lord Bird. The Berry Pickers, a novel by Amanda Peters, print length, 320 pages, publication date, October 31st, 2023, national bestseller, 2023 Barnes and Noble Discover Prize winner, winner of the Andrew Carnegie Medal for Excellence in Fiction, July 1962. A Mi'kmaq family from Nova Scotia arrives in Maine to pick blueberries for the summer. Weeks later, 4-year-old Ruthie, the family's youngest child, vanishes. She is last seen by her 6-year-old brother, Joe, sitting on a favorite rock at the edge of a berry field. Joe will remain distraught by his sister's disappearance for years to come. In Maine, a young girl named Norma grows up as the only child of an affluent family. Her father is emotionally distant, her mother frustratingly overprotective. Norma is often troubled by recurring dreams and visions that seem more like memories than imagination. As she grows older, Norma slowly comes to realize there is something her parents aren't telling her. Unwilling to abandon her intuition, she will spend decades trying to uncover this family secret. For readers of The Vanishing Half and Woman of Light, this show-stopping debut by a vibrant new voice in fiction is a riveting novel about the search for truth, the shadow of trauma, and the persistence of love across time. The Art Thief, a true story of love, crime, and a dangerous obsession, by Michael Finkel, print length, 242 pages, publication date, June 27th, 2023. A Best Book of the Year, The Washington Post, The New Yorker, Lit Hub. Stephen Breitwieser is the most prolific art thief of all time. He pulled off more than 200 heists, often in crowded museums in broad daylight. His girlfriend served as his accomplice. His collection was worth an estimated $2 billion. He never sold a piece, displaying his stolen art in his attic bedroom. He felt like a king, until everything came to a shocking end. In this spellbinding portrait of obsession and flawed genius, Michael Finkel gives us one of the most remarkable true crime narratives of our times, a riveting story of art, theft, love, and an insatiable hunger to possess beauty at any cost. Fourth Wing, The Empyrean Book 1, by Rebecca Yarros. Print length, 665 pages. Publication date, May 2nd, 2023. Enter the brutal and elite world of a war college for dragon riders from #1 New York Times best-selling author Rebecca Yarros. 20-year-old Violet Sorrengail was supposed to enter the scribe quadrant, living a quiet life among books and history. Now, the commanding general, also known as her tough-as-Talon's mother, has ordered Violet to join the hundreds of candidates striving to become the elite of Navarre, dragon riders. But when you're smaller than everyone else and your body is brittle, death is only a heartbeat away, because dragons don't bond to fragile humans. They incinerate them. With fewer dragons willing to bond than cadets, most would kill Violet to better their own chances of success. The rest would kill her just for being her mother's daughter, like Xaden Ryerson, the most powerful and ruthless wing leader in the Riders Quadrant. She'll need every edge her wits can give her just to see the next sunrise. Yet, with every day that passes, the war outside grows more deadly, the kingdom's protective wards are failing, and the death toll continues to rise. Even worse, Violet begins to suspect leadership is hiding a terrible secret. Friends, enemies, lovers. Everyone at Bastiath War College has an agenda, because once you enter, there are only two ways out: graduate or die. The Empyrean series is best enjoyed in order. Reading order. Book number 1, Fourth Wing. Book number 2, Iron Flame. King, A Life, by Jonathan Eig. Print length, 853 pages. Publication date, May 16th, 2023. Winner of the 2024 Pulitzer Prize for Biography. A finalist for the 2023 National Book Critics Circle Award, named one of the 10 best books of 2023 by The Washington Post, Chicago Tribune, and Time. A New York Times bestseller and notable book of 2023, one of Barack Obama's favorite books of 2023. One of the New Yorker's essential reads of 2023, a Christian Science Monitor Best Book of the Year, one of Air Mail's 12 Best Books of 2023. A Washington Post and National Indie bestseller, one of Publishers Weekly's Best Nonfiction Books of 2023, one of Smithsonian Magazine's 10 Best Books of 2023. Hailed by the New York Times as the new definitive biography, King mixes revelatory new research with accessible storytelling to offer an MLK for our times. Vividly written and exhaustively researched, Jonathan Eig's King. A Life is the first major biography in decades of the civil rights icon Martin Luther King Jr., and the first to include recently declassified FBI files. In this revelatory new portrait of the preacher and activist who shook the world, the best-selling biographer gives us an intimate view of the courageous and often emotionally troubled human being who demanded peaceful protest for his movement, but was rarely at peace with himself. He casts fresh light on the King family's origins as well as MLK's complex relationships with his wife, father, and fellow activists. King reveals a minister wrestling with his own human frailties and dark moods, a citizen hunted by his own government, and a man determined to fight for justice, even if it proved to be a fight to the death. As he follows MLK from the classroom to the pulpit to the streets of Birmingham, Selma, and Memphis, Eig dramatically recreates the journey of a man who recast American race relations and became our only modern-day founding father, as well as the nation's most mourned martyr. In this landmark biography, Eig gives us an MLK for our times, a deep thinker, a brilliant strategist, and a committed radical who led one of history's greatest movements, and whose demands for racial and economic justice remain as urgent today as they were in his lifetime. Includes 8 pages of black and white photographs. Wellness, a novel, by Nathan Hill. Print length, 690 pages. Publication date, September 19th, 2023. New York Times bestseller, Oprah's book club pick, and NPR Best Book of the Year. The New York Times best-selling author of The Knicks is back with a poignant and witty novel about a modern marriage and the bonds that keep people together. Mining the absurdities of contemporary society, Wellness reimagines the love story with a healthy dose of insight, irony, and heart. A stunning novel about the stories that we tell about our lives and our loves, and how we sustain relationships throughout time. It's beyond remarkable, both funny and heartbreaking, sometimes on the same page. NPR. When Jack and Elizabeth meet as college students in the gritty 90s Chicago art scene, the two quickly join forces and hold on tight, each eager to claim a place in the thriving underground scene with an appreciative kindred spirit. Fast forward 20 years to suburban married life, and alongside the challenges of parenting, they encounter the often baffling pursuits of health and happiness, from polyamorous would-be suitors to home renovation hysteria. For the first time, Jack and Elizabeth struggle to recognize each other, and the no longer youthful dreamers are forced to face their demons, from unfulfilled career ambitions to childhood memories of their own dysfunctional families. In the process, Jack and Elizabeth must undertake separate, personal excavations or risk losing the best thing in their lives, each other. The Covenant of Water, by Abraham Verghese. Print length, 775 pages. Publication date, May 2nd, 2023. From the New York Times best-selling author of Cutting for Stone comes a stunning and magisterial epic of love, faith, and medicine, set in Kerala, South India, following 3 generations of a family seeking the answers to a strange secret. An instant New York Times and indie bestseller and an Oprah Book Club pick, The Covenant of Water has sold more than 2 million copies worldwide and was widely named as a Best Book of the Year. Spanning the years 1900 to 1977, Abraham Verghese's long-awaited, masterful novel follows 3 generations of a Christian family in Kerala, South India, that suffers a peculiar affliction in every generation. At least one person dies by drowning. As the novel opens, a 12-year-old girl is sent by boat to her wedding, where she meets her husband for the first time. She joins a prosperous household and becomes known as Big Amachi, the matriarch of an extraordinary family that will endure hardship, celebrate triumph, and witness unthinkable changes over the coming decades. An exquisite modern classic, finally available in paperback, The Covenant of Water is an unforgettable and stunning epic of love, faith, and medicine. Holly, by Stephen King. Print length, 464 pages. Publication date, September 5th, 2023. Number 1 New York Times bestseller *, a New York Times notable book *, and NPR Best Book of the Year. Holly Gibney, one of Stephen King's most compelling and resourceful characters, returns in this chilling exploration of grief and illusion, just pure, undistilled evil New York Magazine, as she uncovers the truth behind multiple disappearances in a Midwestern town. When Penny Dahl calls the Finders Keepers detective agency, hoping for help locating her missing daughter, Holly Gibney is reluctant to accept the case. Her partner, Pete, has COVID. Her very complicated mother has just passed away, and Holly is meant to be on leave. But something in Penny's desperate voice makes it impossible to turn her down. Meanwhile, mere blocks from where Bonnie Dahl disappeared live professors Rodney and Emily Harris. They are the picture of bourgeois respectability. Married octogenarians, devoted to each other, and semi-retired lifelong academics. But they are also harboring a shocking, unholy secret in the basement of their well-kept, book-lined home, one that may be related to Bonnie's disappearance. And it will prove nearly impossible to discover what they are up to, for they are savvy, they are patient, and they are ruthless. Now Holly must summon all of her formidable talents to outthink and outmaneuver these unimaginably depraved and brilliantly disguised adversaries in this chilling and unforgettable masterwork from Stephen King. Elon Musk by Walter Isaacson. Print length 680 pages. Publication date September 12, 2023. The #1 New York Times and global bestseller from Walter Isaacson, the acclaimed author of Steve Jobs, Einstein, His Life and World, Benjamin Franklin, and Leonardo da Vinci, is the astonishingly intimate story of the most fascinating, controversial innovator of modern times. For 2 years, Isaacson shadowed Elon Musk as he executed his vision for electric vehicles at Tesla, space exploration with SpaceX, the AI revolution, and the takeover of Twitter and its conversion to X. The result is the definitive portrait of the mercurial pioneer that offers clues to his political instincts, future ambitions, and overall worldview. When Elon Musk was a kid in South Africa, he was regularly beaten by bullies. One day a group pushed him down some concrete steps and kicked him until his face was a swollen ball of flesh. He was in the hospital for a week. But the physical scars were minor compared to the emotional ones inflicted by his father, an engineer, rogue, and charismatic fantasist. His father's impact on his psyche would linger. He developed into a tough yet vulnerable man-child, prone to abrupt Jekyll and Hyde mood swings, with an exceedingly high tolerance for risk, a craving for drama, an epic sense of mission, and a maniacal intensity that was callous and at times destructive. At the beginning of 2022, after a year marked by SpaceX launching 31 rockets into orbit, Tesla selling 1 million cars, and him becoming the richest man on Earth, Musk spoke ruefully about his compulsion to stir up dramas. "I need to shift my mindset away from being in crisis mode, which it has been for about 14 years now, or arguably most of my life," he said. It was a wistful comment, not a New Year's resolution. Even as he said it, he was secretly buying up shares of Twitter, the world's ultimate playground. Over the years, whenever he was in a dark place, his mind went back to being bullied on the playground. Now he had the chance to own the playground. For 2 years, Isaacson shadowed Musk, attended his meetings, walked his factories with him, and spent hours interviewing him, his family, friends, co-workers, and adversaries. The result is the revealing inside story, filled with amazing tales of triumphs and turmoil, that addresses the question, are the demons that drive Musk also what it takes to drive innovation and progress? Small Mercies, a Detective Mystery by Dennis Lehane. Print length 307 pages. Publication date April 25th, 2023. Instant New York Times bestseller. The acclaimed New York Times best-selling writer returns with a masterpiece to rival Mystic River, an all-consuming tale of revenge, family love, festering hate, and insidious power, set against one of the most tumultuous episodes in Boston's history. In the summer of 1974, a heatwave blankets Boston, and Mary Pat Fennessy is trying to stay one step ahead of the bill collectors. Mary Pat has lived her entire life in the housing projects of Southie, the Irish-American enclave that stubbornly adheres to old tradition and stands proudly apart. One night, Mary Pat's teenage daughter Jules stays out late and doesn't come home. That same evening, a young black man is found dead, struck by a subway train under mysterious circumstances. The two events seem unconnected. But Mary Pat, propelled by a desperate search for her missing daughter, begins turning over stones best left untouched, asking questions that bother Marty Butler, chieftain of the Irish mob, and the men who work for him. Men who don't take kindly to any threat to their business. Set against the hot, tumultuous months, when the city's desegregation of its public schools exploded in violence, Small Mercies is a superb thriller, a brutal depiction of criminality and power, and an unflinching portrait of the dark heart of American racism. It is a mesmerizing and wrenching work that only Dennis Lehane could write.